Hello and welcome back to Christy's Journey to the Olympia, the talk show series. Today it is all about habits. Habits are basically one of the reasons why I started this journey, because in order to get to my final goal, Miss Bikini Olympia, I need to have certain habits in place for a long time, and these habits basically help me in all aspects of life. And I decided to do this video about habits because habits are extremely important in our lives, regardless what we are doing. Are like automatic behaviors, conscious or unconscious, that determine eventually who we are. Because habits do make up more than 70% of our daily activity. So you can understand why having good habits is extremely important in order for us to have a happy, healthy life. So, we're gonna talk about habits from a neuroscience perspective and also from a psychology perspective. And I will share with you my main takeaways from Andrew Huberman Podcast about the science of making and breaking habits, some great tools to make and break habits that are useful in all aspects of life. So habits, when it comes to neuroscience, are basically pathways in our neural circuit, so neurons that fire together and are used to work in a certain way, are used with a certain neural pathway. And in order to create and to break habits, we need to change this neural pathway in our brain. How usually is it formed? Through repetition, basically. That's why it's important to repeat the same thing over and over in order to become a habit. Basically, habits are learned consciously or sometimes unconsciously through neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the scientific term of learning, and is the process in which our nervous system changes in response to experience. And more exactly, what changes is basically the connection between neurons. It's about forming new neural circuits, new pathways by which certain habits are likely to occur and others less likely to occur. And if you're wondering what neurons are the nerve cells that communicate to one another by electricity, by sending chemical signals to one another that inspire the next neuron either to be electrically active or not. So this is basically how habits are explained and described through the lens of neuroscience and biology. Also, there are a lot of descriptions and a lot of talks about, let's say, habits in the psychological literature, and there are some interesting aspects about it. The psychological literature usually differentiates between two types of habits: immediate goal-based habits versus identity-based habits. So immediate goal-based habits are basically designed to bring a specific outcome as you do them, each and every time you do them. For example, you want to develop the habit of getting 60 minutes of running or zone 2 cardio 3-4 times per week. This is an immediate goal-based habit. An identity-based goal habit, it's a long-term habit that has a larger theme. For example, you are trying to become a fit person, or me, I'm trying to become a professional athlete. That is an identity-based habit. If you heard that it takes 21 days to form a habit, it is partially true. There were various studies made, and it actually takes anywhere between 18 to 274 days to form a new habit. So it does take a while because it needs a lot of repetition in order to be automatic. And why do we want that? Because if we do things automatically, we don't need to think about it. There's no discomfort or, limbic friction, how Andrew Huberman likes to say. It's easier to stick to those behaviors. So, basically that you formed a new habit once you are doing that thing about 80% of the time without any kind of mental effort. So for example, you're brushing your teeth. Every morning you are used to brush your teeth, even if you're in the mood or not. You're not really thinking like, oh, I need to go and brush my teeth. It's already something automatic. So all kinds of other habits can become like this in time with patience and repetitions, and by using different tools that I will tell you in a minute that basically help us make these habits easier. Also, it is very important to be in the right state of mind and to have the right attitude when we talk about habit formation. So first we need to take responsibility and know that it is our responsibility to form that habit, that only we can do it and depends on us. Other people of course can help us, but we are the ones who have the power to actually change our habits, make new habits, and break habits that we don't want to have. And all this habit formation has to do with being in the right state of mind and being able basically to control our state of body and mind. Some habits are more useful than others, and these are called linchpin habits. There are certain habits that are easy to execute and that make other habits easier to execute. And always these linchpin habits are things that we enjoy doing. For example, I, as Andrew Huberman as well, enjoy exercise. So for me, exercising, it's a habit that I have for years and years. It doesn't depend on the context. It's a strong habit. It doesn't matter if I'm home, if I'm on holidays, if I'm somewhere else. I always find time to exercise, and it doesn't matter the time of the day. Sometimes it might be in the morning, sometimes afternoon, sometimes evening, but it is a very strong habit that I have for lots of years. I enjoy it, and this habit actually helps me in all other pursuits in life because it teaches me discipline, it teaches me flexibility as well, mind and body, and it teaches me a lot of things that are beneficial in all aspects of my life. So this is a strong habit, and this is how you know your habits are strong if they are context independent. So if you're doing that thing regardless of the context, you're brushing your teeth regardless if you're home or if you're going on holidays, so that is a very strong habit. And the idea is to make all habits that are beneficial for our lives stronger. So how can we make that? Because eventually the goal of any habit is to get into automaticity. So the neural circuits that we talked about, to perform it automatically. So it takes less, mental and physical effort to do that. And I will share with you right now 3 tools that are useful and science realize that are actually very important when it comes to forming and breaking habits. So these 3 tools, first tool, it's actually related to procedural memory. So with each repetition of a habit, Small changes occur in the cognitive and neural mechanism associated with procedural memory. If you're wondering what does procedural memory mean, procedural memory is basically holding in mind the specific sequence of things that need to happen in order for a specific outcome to occur. Like, for example, a recipe, a certain protocol. And that's why when we try to make new habits, we realized, the scientists and psychologists realized that it is very important for us to visualize the steps that we are going to follow in order to do that thing that we want to become a habit. And that is also related a little bit to task bracketing. I will explain you in a moment what task bracketing is as well. So for everyone trying to form a habit and getting over the limbic friction easier, getting into the mindset of procedural memory is very useful. It's basically a visualization exercise, thinking of the specific sequence of steps required to execute that habit. For example, I know that in the morning I like to do warm water with lemon and to get dressed and go to the gym or to do a walk or exercise. So in order to do these habits, I have in my mind the steps that I need to do. I need to wake up, wash my face, put the water to heat, cut the lemons. So if I visualize these steps, get dressed for the gym, basically I make it easier to stick with my habits. You know, before going to sleep, I think like, okay, I'm gonna wake up in the morning, so what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wake up, make my water with lemon, heat the water, cut the lemon, get dressed for the gym, and go to the gym. And this is also related to task bracketing, because these little tasks kind of like prime me for that habit. And this task bracketing involves a particular set of neurocircuits within the basal ganglia. We talked about the basal ganglia in the video about goals. So it's an area in the brain that is very active and related to goals and habits. And within the basal ganglia, there is a sensory motor loop called the dorsolateral striatum. So this dorsolateral striatum basically helps with task bracketing. So not necessarily with the habit itself, but with the behaviors that are associated with the habit, the things that happen before the habit and after the habit. So this dorsolateral striatum becomes active at the beginning of the particular habit and at the end. Basically, it brackets the habit. That's why this tool is called task bracketing. So if we visualize these little tasks that we need to do before our habit and after, it will help us to form that habit easier. So I have to tell you that also Andrew Huberman was saying that although we think that, if we are trying to make a habit, it is very important to make that habit at a specific time. So go to the gym every day at 7 a.m. It's not really true long term that this will help us stick with that habit. What is more important is the state that we are in while we are preparing for that habit. And I will share with you another tool now based with our hormones and dopamine levels and all these kind of things on how to create habits easier and how to have a system of also realizing that if that behaviors that we wanted to become a habit actually became a habit. So because we said that it does take between 18 to 254 days to make a new habit, this protocol, this program for habits is of 21 days. Usually it is said that you need to repeat these 21 days at least 3 times in order to really know that those habits stick with you. And adjusting basically habits require overcoming this limbic friction, this procrastination feeling. So it needs to become automatically, so we don't need to think like, oh, should I go to the gym, should I not? No, it's just an automatic thing. Like, I don't even think. I wake up, brush my teeth, drink my warm water with lemon, maybe have my breakfast, go to the gym or go for a walk or go to do any kind of exercise that I enjoy. For me, it did become automatically, and I am sharing with you these tools so all the good habits that you want can become automatic for you as well, with patience and the right way of approaching it. So, if we divide the 24 hours into 3 phases, so 8 hours each phase, we are more likely to do the right habits according to those phases and to stick with them. So, because it's not important, you know, to have those habits exactly at that specific times, you have basically 8 hours instead of saying every day at 7 I'm going to the gym, thinking that if I don't go tomorrow at 7, it means that going to the gym is not a habit anymore. No, as long as you do that in the first phase of the day, because now I will share with you what kind of habits are best to do in what phase of the day. So, what I will suggest you to do is to choose 6 habits, write down 6 habits that you would like to have, 6 good habits, 6 habits that are good for your health, and you will have 21 days to keep on practicing these habits in order to make them automatically. And after you write down those 6 habits, I'm saying 6, but Andrew Huberman says that I got a bit confused. Sorry. So, yes, choose 6 habits. Write them down. Then I will let you know that the phase 1 is basically the first 8 hours after you wake up, when your body and mind are more like action and focused oriented, because the dopamine is elevated in the first 8 hours when we wake up. Also, adrenaline, cortisol levels are elevated, so it makes us more alert, and it's easier to overcome limbic friction. So between these first 8 hours, choose the things that are harder for you to do. Also keep in mind that during this time we're also more prone to distraction and to reflexive multitasking. So set between 1 to 4 habits that you're gonna complete in this phase 1. So between 0 and 8 hours since you woke up. These habits should be the habits that require energy and focus, and you need to set a window for completion rather than, you know, a precise start and end time. So for example, you say I'm gonna do 45 minutes of yoga or of running or of exercise every day in this phase 1. If you can do that every day at the same time, it's great. If not, it's great as well, and it does not affect anyhow your ability to make that habit. Phase 2. So phase 2, it's basically 9 to 15 hours after waking up. That basically there are higher serotonin levels and lower adrenaline, and it's important to engage in habits that don't require to overcome that much limbic friction. So, things that are more creative, maybe, playing any kind of instrument, or things like making new recipes, cooking, depending what kind of, habits you decide that you want to pursue. These are the types of habits that are a bit easier for you to do. So for example, for me, I love walking. I can do my walk anytime. So it's better for me if I decide to do my strength training in the first part of the day, and then I can walk in the second phase, because that is something that doesn't require, much effort for me. Or I do my cooking and trying new recipes the second phase, because that is also something that I enjoy and doesn't require a lot of limbic friction for me. However, for example, all the things that are doing this kind of videos, reading, I prefer to do the first part of the day, because require focus and concentration. And for example, for me, if I say one of the habits that I want to gain is to read at least 10 pages every day, I prefer to do this the first part of the day when I feel more focused and concentrated, and then the second part of the day let it, for the other habits that don't require that much focus and concentration. So keep that in mind when you choose your habits and the time of the day that you want to do them. And then phase 3, it is the 16 to 24 hours after waking up. So basically, it's all about resting and sleeping. My habits, for example, related to that, it's to have at least 20 minutes of yin yoga 4 times per week minimum before going to sleep, or to have a warm bath twice a week. Things that are all related, to the sleeping rituals, or, to write or just to think and visualize the things that I'm grateful for from this particular day. Everything that is basically related to resting and sleep. Most important things for this phase is to avoid bright lights before going to sleep, sleep in a cool, dark room, and if you need to, maybe, have a nice chamomile tea before to really help you calm down and relax and unwind and prepare for a relaxing sleep. Then, the second part of the program is test habit change in alternating blocks. So, Andrew Huberman suggests people to pick 6 new habits to incorporate per day for 21 days, as I said, write them down, and then aim to complete 4 to 6 of those per day. So, even if you complete less than 6, but therefore it's still great. It's not a, all or nothing type of thing. And also never compensate by doing more than 6 if the day before you did less. No, a no compensation system is best. If today from the 6 you only did 2, it's okay. Tomorrow you can do 4, 6, you do not need to compensate and do more the next day, because that is not effective. And merging this approach with the phase 1 to 3 structure, basically it's the best way to succeed of implementing new habits. How will you know if you are succeeding? Well, you need to take the next 21 days, after the 21 days where you finish the program of habit making, track your behavior, but do not incorporate any new habits. So basically you have 21 days of habit formation followed by 21 days of testing to see which habits actually became, automatically and became habits. And then so 21 days of habit formation, 21 days of testing, and then repeating again the process. And then you can add new habits if you would like to. So the strength of the habit, it is dictated by how much link friction you need to overcome to perform the behavior and how much context dependence there is. Meaning, do you perform the habit no matter why, or only when you're calm, rested, or in the presence of, others factors, only if you drink coffee and things like this? So the way to know if a habit that you have is very strong is that you do that thing automatically regardless of how you feel, where you are, and any kind of other things that can influence it. Part C is all about breaking habits. So to break a habit, you need to first of all obviously take responsibility and be conscious that that thing, it is a habit. Be aware that is a habit that you're trying to break, because a lot of times we try to hide behind it and say, no, I'm not doing that all the time. And maybe you are, maybe you're drinking coffee 5 times a day, it's just a habit, you don't need it, but you're just used to it. And unless you recognize it and you realize that you want and you decide that you want to change it, there's no way that you can change it. It's very important for you to be willing and to want to change that habit and know that it's beneficial for you. So when you realize you did that thing that you didn't want to do, you need to engage in a positive behavior immediately afterwards. So let's say you drank again the coffee that you knew that you shouldn't and you didn't want to. So immediately you will drink, for example, I'm giving you an example. You can drink 2 glasses of water instead, or you can do 10 jumping jacks. You choose the behavior that it's positive. Positive means that it's good for your body, not something that you enjoy. Because maybe you say, okay, I drank some coffee, so now I'm gonna have free candies because I love candies. That is not a good habit, and it will not help you break your coffee bad habit. So positive because they are good for us and our health, and not necessarily because we enjoy those things. So this would be a very, a very short, let's say, summary of Andrew Huberman's podcast about the science of making and breaking habits. For me, it was very useful, and I am doing now, I used to do anyway 21 days habit resets, and it did work for me, and it helped me stick with my habits. And because I keep on doing them 21 days and then again 21 days and sticking with them, it does help to form all the good habits that I have. And whenever I feel that I kind of got out of loop, because of course there are times in our lives that nobody's perfect, we're human, and sometimes we kind of get all over the place and forget a little bit about all our good habits. So whenever this happens, I go back to the 21 days habits reset. I choose my 6 habits and I do this whole protocol and program that I just described to you. It is very helpful. This is the reason why even the wellness retreats that I'm organizing with my brand No Fit Lifestyle, behind why I decided to do, you know, the retreats 21 days and then 21 days or 4 or 3 times, sorry. It's because, yes, it does take longer to form habits. You cannot expect for a 1 day of wellness to, you know, change your life completely and make you do all the things that you know you should do and are good for you, but you don't have them yet as habits. We do need more time, practice, repetition in order to make these good behaviors automatically. And that's why I'm happy to help people who have the financial means and are able to, you know, invest in somebody who will help them make and create new healthy habits for themselves. So a minimum of 21 days is required. I do the 7 days retreats just like you know, a little demo, let's say. However, I'm very honest and I can tell you that, yeah, in 7 days you cannot expect to change habits and to break habits that you have for such a long time, or to bring new habits and know for sure that you will do them automatically after those 7 days. Scientifically has been proven that, you know, the least amount is 18 days. So I guess that's why a lot of people also stick to 21 days, because our 3 weeks, few more days than the 18, but still, and it sounds better than if you tell somebody from the beginning you need 254 days to form a habit. It's a little bit, you know, discouraging. So start little by little. Start with 21 days, choose your habits, form them, test them, and keep on going with that. And with breaking the habit, very easy. Be aware of what habits you want to break. When you do it, don't blame yourself, just let it be, and immediately do another behavior that is good, it's positive for your health. Really hope this helped you. Very excited that I am able to share all this information with you. Of course, if you have patience and time, I definitely recommend you to listen the full podcasts about the science of making and breaking habits that Andrew Huberman did, and all his podcasts are really, really great information for free, basically. And good luck with making new happy, healthy habits and with breaking the ones that do not help you. And remember that habits are good in all aspects of life and will help you in all aspects of life to be happy, healthy, and fulfilled. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you find this information useful. And see you soon. Have a beautiful day.